But the first step to becoming a smartass is to admit you're a dumbass. Let me explain myself. I only attended real school probably in kindergarten and maybe a little bit of first grade. But after that, I went to an online school that became like a hybrid school once I got into middle school. And by hybrid, even then, it was barely hybrid because I only had to go once a week. So I really didn't go to a traditional high school or middle school. And I know you're like, but you still went to school. I mean, yeah, but here's the thing. The school I went to, it's not great. Like, I later found out the school was really made for kids that were just like, for whatever reason, couldn't go to regular schools. And typically it would be kids that, didn't pay attention in school or were getting in a lot of fights or troublemakers, whatever the fuck. Those kind of kids would get into this school just so they could finish their, schooling. I don't think that the majority of people that went there only went there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a few that did. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that wasn't the case, but it wasn't the majority. The majority were really people that just came in from whatever circumstances or just coming in for, maybe that school year until their parents can find them another school. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like meant to be somebody's actual school long term. And a lot of things that happened to me in that school, like the way I was taught and whatnot, is very different from how you traditional folks out there were taught in your traditional schools. And a lot of those things I'm finding out now as an adult. Like, I didn't know this shit until I started hearing other people talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, right? I didn't have to write on paper. I didn't at all. I didn't have to take notes ever. I didn't have to write, and I didn't write. I didn't write shit. And to this day, to this very fucking day, my handwriting is shit because of it. Luckily, writing on paper is not really a day-to-day thing for me or most people nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Because we live in a very technological time right now. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers give you an iPad. You know what I'm saying? To put shit down on. Yeah, so this is totally the same day, everybody. Anyways, though, not only did they have me not write, there are a lot of other things in this school where I didn't really have to do it. If I didn't want to do a certain subject, right, there was a teacher in my school. I don't want to say his name, but let's just call him Rick Ross, Mr. Ross for short. Mr. Ross was the kind of teacher, and there were a lot of teachers that I heard that was in the school like this, where basically, if you didn't want to do your work, you just be like, yeah, I don't know the answer to this. They would come over and just give you the answers. They would talk, not really teaching you it. They just come over and start talking, and then basically, like, okay, do you know this one? And you'd be like, no, and then they'd give you the answer. So you really didn't have to work. Sure, to a certain degree, it's on you, but you're a kid. So of course, if a kid knows they can, just be like, can you give me the answer? Of course, a kid's gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, you can put that on me, but also it's on them because y'all are the adults. Y'all was supposed to be teaching us, and y'all fucking just gave us the answers, which is not gonna help long term actually understanding this subject. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't give a shit. I mean, for the parents and whatnot, they made it seem like, they really cared and whatnot, but the people in there really didn't care. I had probably like two teachers who were actually good teachers, but the only problem is the difference between those two good teachers and Mr. Ross was that Mr. Ross, I mean, I don't even want to say he was a teacher. I mean, I think he was, but he was never really particularly teaching the class. He was kind of going around helping the kids. So maybe he was like a teacher's assistant or something. I don't know. But the ones that were good teachers, they were actually ones that were actually teaching the class. They didn't really go up to you and particularly, you know, help you out. You could ask them. Sometimes they might be able to do it. It's more like a special thing rather than this is what you're really doing on the regular. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. And I'm passable. You know what I'm saying? Because I got myself to that place. And well, I didn't. I won't say I got myself to that place. My parents had me write sometimes and shit like that. So like I said, my parents were teaching me things as well. They didn't just send me to school and I got back and then that was it. I was done learning stuff. No, I got back and I, was continued to be taught things at home. That's why I'm not a complete fucking idiot. But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of things though, in a lot of ways I've learned stuff has kind of, at least in my opinion, set me back from my peers. Not to say I'm stupid, but I'm still learning. Another drawback is social stuff, social interactions and whatnot. I mean, think about it. To y'all kids that went to public schools, you had to see people every day, talking to them all the time. Me, I never really had to talk to people. Maybe once a week. Like the only time when you would talk to people in my school, like where you really have to be forced to, is when like I wouldn't even say forced to. It's just more like okay, you're walking in at the beginning of the day. You say hi to somebody you might be sitting next to. But other than that, there was no lunches. There were no extracurricular activities, at least that were mandatory. The biggest thing that I could say that gave me a lot of my social interactions from that school was being able to, at the end of the day, go out and wait for my mom to pick me up, which is what all the kids would do because we get out at a certain time and everybody would have to wait for their ride to come get them. So this would be the time where you would see a lot of kids out. That little amount of time I had was free to actually talk to other kids. I tried to use that time to talk to other kids. I did make a few acquaintances, maybe you could say buddies, but I only had one in like my entire time being at school, right? Which was from like I want to say 7 to 17. That entire time, I only really hung out with like one or two people from that school outside of school, and that was only like one or two times. So I don't want to say that school left me socially inept because luckily my dad really didn't let me be like this introverted kind of person. I wouldn't say like he forced me to in a lot of scenarios, but he definitely pushed me more than I would have pushed myself. So I'm a lot more social than I probably would have been if I didn't have a dad or a different type of dad. But still, I am still drawn back in some social ways. I'm not socially inept, but I'm still learning a lot of social cues that I just never had to learn because I wasn't really around that many people. But I'm not scared to be around people. I'm cool with it. I think that if I had no dad or a different dad, I feel as if I would have been a person who was just 100% an introvert and does not want to be around people at all. Of course, I do have my times when I'm a bit shy or whatnot, but then there's other days where I'm extrovert and I want to talk to everybody. And I mean, yeah, in a sense, that is kind of just a little bit innate within me too, because I mean, both of my parents are social people. My mom is like me in a sense where some days she's very extroverted and other days she's very introverted. But my dad is very extroverted. So yeah, I mean, sure he did kind of get me outside of my box, but at the same time too, even if he didn't do that, from them, I think genetically I just got that kind of socialness in me. I've never been like scared to talk to people when I want to do it. But it's just even with that though, even with that like natural part of myself that is an extrovert, even with that, I am still like socially. Again, I don't want to say inept. I don't want to say inept. I don't think that would be the right word, right? I just want to say I'm just like just socially held back a bit, because there's some things that some people might do that I just wouldn't pick up on because I never had to be in that scenario before. But I think the more I hang out with people, the more I'm going to kind of learn these things. I don't think I'll 100% know all of them because where else in life are you going to really have to see that many people every day? There's just not a lot of situations in life where you're going to have that kind of scenario happen to you again. So, you know, but then, because of that, some people might argue that that kind of shit is not necessary. And in a sense, I agree with you, but because of the career field that I'm in or trying to get in, I kind of need to be able to be that extroverted guy that can go up to people and talk to them about anything and everything and kind of connect with them on the smallest things, which I kind of have, but it's not as good as it could be. Like, I think if I went to regular school, like if I had grown up going to public school, I think that I would be more like my dad But I am who I am, you know. At least more, much more like my dad. At least like socially. But yeah, no, it's every day. It's a learning thing, you know. It's learning new stuff, and it's fun, but it's also frustrating. It can be both, you know. It can be both things at the same time. A lot of y'all traditional schooled folks, y'all are at least at similar levels with your peers. You know what I'm saying? Even if you really didn't like try that hard, you're still kind of not too far from them. You know what I'm saying? Me, it's random. It's random, like, you know, when I'm behind on and what I'm ahead of with. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that school didn't push me at all. At all. Really. It didn't do shit for me, no favors. Some of you out there may ask, if this school was so bad and your parents are so good, why the hell would they even put you in the school? Simple answer. I don't know if you know much about the public school system here in Nevada, but for those of you out there who don't, at the time I was going to school, it wasn't great. So my mom, being the caring parent she is, seeing how bad the public school system was, it was like, okay, I want to see if there's other options of educating my children, so that way they don't have to be in this shitty system. And that's why we went to it for the majority of our schooling, because for the majority of our lives we were in Vegas. The only reason that I really know a lot of stuff I know is because my parents, and also because of me, right? Because though I have good parents, I could have went into the school, and when they told me to do assignments, I could have just been like, I'm alright. Or I could have just been like, okay, and just did bare minimum. But I didn't. Instead, when they gave me assignments, I was like, okay, I want to try on this. You know what I'm saying? And I did for the majority of them. And were times where I was like, I don't really want to try. That's when my parents kicked in. Now, I can't say that's all things, because there were something I just didn't like doing, and I found a way to fucking weasel out of it because I was a bad kid. By the way, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, I was a bad kid. For real. I hope that when I have kids, my kids are not like me as a kid, because I was a fucked up kid. I really was. But we'll talk about that another day. Anyways, though, this whole situation just sounds like odd, right? Like I mean, even me trying to explain it sounds odd, you know? But that's how it was. That's literally how it was. And as a kid, I didn't really notice it was weird. I just thought that that was normal. I mean, I thought it was different than what I was seeing on TV, but like I always had in my mind that yeah, TV is fake. School doesn't really go like that. I mean, yeah, maybe in like the 1950s or some shit, kids all went to the same classroom with a bunch of other kids, and there'd be somebody at the front teaching them or some shit. That's how it was in the 50s. That's what I thought. Little did I know, that's actually what kids was doing. Still at that point when I was in school. So I never noticed it was weird until I became a bit older. All that really just set me back. To y'all youngins out there, pay attention in school. And if you are in online school, I don't know if your online school is as bad as mine, but maybe if you have any friends that are in traditional schools, maybe just like see where they're at. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like you're behind, start learning now. Start learning now. Okay? Don't fucking skip out on it. And I want to say this. Don't think I'm a dumbass though. All right? Don't think I'm a fucking well, no, I'm a dumbass. I'm a fucking dumbass. I'll admit it. I'm okay with admitting I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass. But the first step to becoming a smartass is to admit you're a dumbass. I'm trying to improve every day. You know, I'm not a perfect person. No one is. And even when I do improve, I'm not gonna be perfect. But hey, at least I can be like, I accomplished a goal that I set out. I'm trying to be better than myself yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to necessarily be better than everybody else. I don't really care about that. I'm just trying to be better than the guy yesterday. And I want to clarify this before I go. Not everything is gloom and doom about going to non-traditional schools for me. I mean, there are some positives to it. And I don't personally hate that I'm so different than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, I mean, it does kind of give me interesting shit to talk about, so I can't really hate on it that much. And plus, I'm sure traditional, I mean, not that I'm sure, I know there are traditional school kids that will tell me, like, public schools suck dick, so you lucked out. So, I'm not completely saying it's terrible. And maybe one day I might talk about the positives. If y'all want me to, I'll do it. If that piques y'all interest, maybe I'll talk about that, more the positives. But anyways, namaste and peace.